Well, the regular season of high school football is now in the books, so we've got a special playoff edition of Southeast Ohio Sports Talk. I'm Ben Spicer, sports reporter here at the Portsmouth Daily Times, joined by sports editor Kevin Colley. And Kevin, we've got some great football matchups to preview, but first off, we've got several teams going on to the regional tournament and some runners from around the area who are going on to state and cross country, so we wanted to mention them before we go on to the football picks. And then, of course, Hunter will be on the program with us to give us some insight and some predictions on those three teams that are going on to the playoffs. But first off, we've got to mention those cross-country runners. As for Eastern's Evan Least, he finished 7th, so he's going on to state. He's had a stellar season so far this year, and now he'll get to a chance to compete up and against state competition. I can't wait to see that. And in the Division III girls race, Rock Hill had 2 freshmen qualify, as Bella Stevens finished 11th and Cameron Miller finished 19th. Portsmouth's Lindsay Shipley finished 42nd and Anne-Marie Reyes finished 88th. In the Division II boys race, Aiden Kamler finished 37th. He's a junior, so he's got another chance next year. And then Matthew Harris from Minford, forgot to mention, in the Division III boys race, he missed it by just 1 spot. So they've got some motivation heading into the offseason. They're 2 great kids, and I think they're going to be back and better than ever next year.
Yeah, I think Aiden has a great chance to qualify. I think with the numbers he was putting up, I think he has a great chance to finish top 15 even. You know, you're looking at the guy right there. I mean, won the OVC meet, and you know, some of his counterparts are right there in that top 25, top 30. So I have no doubt that Aiden can. And Matthew Harris has been a standout all year long, and could be a guy that could be a top 10 guy making the necessary improvements too.
Well, as for girls soccer, we've got a big-time regional matchup later on tonight as the Wheelersburg Pirates will get a rematch with Lynchburg Clay. Just looking at how things shaked out, Minford lost to North Adams, who Wheelersburg went on to beat 6-1. It was kind of a repeat. Last year they played North Adams. They won 3-2, and they played North Adams earlier in the year, won 2-1. So you can just see the improvement and the progress. Wheelersburg is starting to peak at the right time of the season, and they've got just a complete team. I got the chance to go to that North Adams game, and man, let me tell you, they are tough to beat. Again, in that game, a lot of the other players got to come in. I mean, they didn't keep the starters in the whole time, so they're well rested, they're well conditioned. It was a cold game. You thought maybe that would make an impact on it. It didn't. They still score 6 goals. They go down 1-0 in the 4th minute of the game. They don't let it get to them at all. The defense steps up. They've contained 2 really great players over the last 2 matches. Brianna Shoemaker from Peebles, the all-time leading goal scorer there. Lakin Hupp at North Adams has over 100 goals in her career. Neither of them scored. Neither of them barely touched the ball at all. So defense is locked in. As we said, the offense is looking good. They've got superstar power, Madison Humble, Lynn Willis, Libby Miller, and girls that are stepping up in the roles even beyond that. I mean, girls like Sophie Hagens, Kristen Reisner, and it's just a complete team. It really is. And I think they're going to be tough to beat, and they want revenge against Lynchburg Clay, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think they'll do it. I think they'll win by a good 2 goals or more. I mean, like you said, they're peaking at the right time, and they have the depth all over the place. 10, 15 girls you can throw in there, and any one of them could start for any girls team or in the Southeast District. I mean, that really says it all. This is a state Final Four caliber team. We keep saying that, but I mean, the results. I mean, to obliterate your opponents basically is it's an obliteration. I mean, the Madison Humble to me has made the difference because of her speed in the midfield. Having that extra midfielder there that can be a game breaker and can create those opportunities. She's so pesky, and then with the ball is just so good with the ball at her feet, creating for her teammates. And I think that's made all the difference in the world because it's opened up those opportunities for Libby and Lindley and Kristen Reisner and Sophie Hagens and Chelsea Steele. All have been big contributors, and then some behind that. The sky's the limit for Berg. I mean, they really. I don't know if they'll win the first state title in school history, but I wouldn't bet against it happening either. I mean, they've got a lot of depth.
And you talk about Lily Willis, Madison Humble, they're seniors, so they want to go out strong. There's several other girls on the roster that are seniors as 13. Well. Sydney White, a part of that defense, she said she wants this to be a season that everyone remembers there at Wheelersburg, and I got the chance to talk to head coach Todd Jarvis and several other girls after that North Adams game about that match with Lynchburg Clay on the horizon. Let's see what they had to say there.
We play another good team, but the great thing about it is we're included in that list of good teams. So the Lady Pirates deserve that. So you know what, Lynchburg's Clay's next, and we'll look forward to playing them, and we know they're going to be a dogfight, and hopefully we'll be a little more competition than we were last year, but I know these ladies will play hard and they look forward to it.
I'm really hoping just go as far as we can and be supportive of my teammates, and I want them to remember this season. We have a lot stronger defense this year, so I'm really hoping that we can all come together and just do the best that we can.
Well, heading on to boys soccer, we've been dreaming about this matchup all year long. We finally got it. The SOC has been waiting for this one. South Webster and Northwest on Wednesday at Waverly, and we finally got it. Kevin, what do you think about it?
It's going to be a clash, really. The part that I'm very most excited to see is how Evan Throckmorton, Tyra Webb, and Harold Brunquist, those three amazing guys at the top of the line for Northwest, will handle a gritty South Webster defense led by Jacob Ruth and Michael Andrews and Tanner Boyers in goal. That's going to be, quite a matchup to watch. Evan has obviously been tremendous and has put up numbers that I don't think Northwest people have ever seen before. As a court, again, with Harold as well. But,
and Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler, really, yeah. I mean, with over 25 goals on the year, all three of them are outstanding. But, oh man, that's going to be a tough one. With the schedule that South Webster has, I just think, and then being there, before, to me that will put South Webster over the top. I do think Northwest is an excellent team. Don't get me wrong. I think that they have so much depth from top to bottom. I think Chase McClay and Mason Campbell, Billy Crabtree, and so many more. Austin Spear have been awesome throughout the year. But when you have the kind of games that South Webster put together against the competition that they played against Logan and Alexander and Athens and Zane Trace, I think that's really going to have South Webster prepared, and I think in a game that goes beyond 80 minutes, I think South Webster will win in overtime. And I think this is a game that will propel South Webster into the regional finals that could possibly get them to the Holy Grail, the Final Four up at Mayfair Stadium.
These are two teams with very contrasting styles. South Webster's a team that likes to possess the ball, control the clock a little bit, and set up their scores. Northwest thrives on speed and scoring quickly, and they put their foot on the gas, and when you think you've got them, that's when they get you back. They're just so quick. All those forwards that you mentioned, they've got a really tough team. I'm interested to see the two coaches, Corey Claxton and Josh Keeney, matching wits in this one, because that's definitely going to be fun to watch. We've got great scorers on both sides of things. Shiloh Blevins, Sam Holstein for South Webster. Yeah. It's a fun matchup. It's really one that you want to go see, the cream of the crop when it comes to soccer.
You know how we were talking about Burke West, if you're not a soccer fan, how we've been talking about Burke West, hyping that up all year. Webster and Northwest is the similar, like you're talking about, the contrasting styles. That's the matchup you want to see around here, and it is a must watch. Even beyond, like you said, Shiloh and Sam have been outstanding this year, but Ty Collins and Devin Coriel have been super outstanding throughout the year. And behind that they have guys like Josiah Edwards on that back line too that I haven't even mentioned, that add depth. And they only lose one senior, D'Angelo Thompson, who is also a threat to score from out there and has improved throughout the second half of the season. Like you said, it is going to be an outstanding matchup to watch.
And just looking at how the two teams got here, Northwest beat North Adams. The Green Devils tried to play Northwest physical, didn't work out for them. They were rough with Northwest, and Northwest just sat there and took it, was patient, and we talked about that speed, but in that game they showed a lot of patience to score, and they didn't let the opponent get to them. And that, I think, is a huge thing, because once you get to this point of the season, you're playing against very physical teams.
Right.
That's how soccer's played. That's how great soccer teams play. It's physical. Right. And to show that they're able to handle that physicality, I think, says a lot about them. And then South Webster, you can't say enough about how much they came back. They're down 2 goals in the first 10 minutes of the game. They've got a freshman keeper. Doesn't get to him, doesn't get to the defense. They keep fighting, and they come back, and they outlast Lynchburg Clay in the second half, because we had the first 7 goals and the only 7 goals in the match 25 minutes in. South Webster holds Lynchburg Clay the entire game, and Lynchburg Clay is one of the fastest teams. They might be just as fast as Northwest.
Yeah.
So I think that they got a good preview against the Mustangs, and they're going to be ready to play. Both of these teams are going to be ready to play.
Yeah. That's what I think. It's not going to be a blowout either side. Northwest is ready. They may have not been to this stage before, but they're ready, and Josh Keeney will have them ready. I just think with the ball possession, like you're talking about, that Corey Claxton has emphasized, and then the level of play that they have played against. Northwest has played a tough schedule too. They beat Berg. They've proven it on the road. They've won 1-goal games, and they've won blowout affairs and taking care of business. I just think with the depth that South Webster has faced against and handled so well, they'll have enough firepower to offset what Northwest brings to the table. However, I will say, you mentioned North Adams being physical with Northwest. I know say against when they played Chesapeake too. Chesapeake was quite physical with Northwest in its own right, and like you said, Northwest took the punches and kept coming. They never relented, and it never phased them. They just took it and kept to their game plan and stuck with it, and were never phased. So it's going to be a fight for over 80 minutes. I think it could be a 110-minute contest, easy.
And at this point of the season, the Mohawks have had just about everything thrown at them that they can have. They've had physical teams, they've had ball control teams like South Webster that they faced. So they've seen it all, as has South Webster. Of course, Northwest did beat North Adams. That was before the South Webster-Lynchburg Clay game, so we didn't know who was going to win at that point. I did talk to Josh Keeney after the match and after South Webster won. He said, congratulations to the Jeeps. He's really excited to have two SOC teams clashing in regionals. It's awesome. I did talk to Corey Claxton, of course, after the Lynchburg Clay win, and at that point he knew he was going to be facing Northwest, as well as Tanner Voyer. So let's see what they had to say about the Mohawks.
The SOC is going to win that one, and we're both going to represent well, and people have kind of always said, wish you guys played this season. Well, hey, we're finally going to get to it, and I think it'll be a good game, and like I said, it's a win for the SOC. Somebody's going to regional final, so it's great.
It's going to be a good game, I think. Northwest got a bunch of fast kids. I think it's going to be about like Lynchburg. It's going to be a really good game.
Well, these aren't the only sports that we're going to regional tournaments in. Volleyball as well. I got the chance to see Wheelersburg play Piketon, and Wheelersburg really impressed. That's the best volleyball they've played all season, I would dare to say. They've had a great regular season. They swept the Red Streaks. It only took 3 sets to beat them. And Piketon has the SVC Player of the Year in Cammie Chandler. She came on late. She did get 16 kills, so she had a solid performance for Piketon. But Wheelersburg, it was just a complete team effort from the Pirates, and they should really be proud of the way they played. They got contributions from literally everyone on the team that played out on the court. The interesting part of it for me was they went down 8-3 in the first set, didn't panic. Alan Perry didn't call a timeout, and I kind of asked him after the game, why didn't you take a timeout? And he said he believed they started out slow normally in the first set. And he said he knew they would come back. They've been in the situation all year. So when you have that adversity, we're going to talk about Wheelersburg football later on, how they've blown everyone out, and East football as well. Wheelersburg has been in close games, and I think that favors them well for this matchup that they have. But it's going to be a tough one.
Yeah, I just love the balance that Wheelersburg has had. The common denominator to me with Wheelersburg and Notre Dame both is they've had multiple girls lately with 10 or more digs. Normally on teams you'll see 1 or 2 girls with 20, but these teams, Berg and Notre Dame both have had 4 girls consistently during the tournament run with 10 or more digs. That's so huge because you've got to have a consistent presence back there defensively for multiple girls, not just 1 or 2. I think earlier in the season, as expected, it was going to be mainly Ellie Ruby kind of carrying the load back there defensively, with her and Mia Darnell being the lone, real experienced girls, back in that rotation. But as the season's gone along and the younger girls have come along and kind of developed, you're seeing more girls get their hats in there. You got Addison Rays with her best performance of the year against North Adams with 13 kills and 9 digs. And then you have, girls like Emily Boggs stepping in there as a freshman in a district semifinal contest against North Adams and contributing, 8 kills to the table. I mean, when you can have that kind of depth across the board all the way down to the end of the bench, like Wheelersburg developed in its final 2 games of district play heading into the regional tournament, that bodes really well. Will they win? Will that lead to a win Thursday? It's going to be tough, but having that kind of production, as we've seen a lot of Wheelersburg teams have from top to bottom, leads to a lot of success, as we have seen. Now, I think they can do it. I think they can get the W. I mean, 4 or 5 Division I recruits on the roster, but who can? I mean, I wouldn't have expected Wheelersburg to win the region after losing in the district finals last year with a team that had 6 seniors. So, I mean, who expected them to get to this point? Who knows where they can go from here? I love what the job Alan Perry's done. He's got to be in the running for Coach of the Year honors in any volleyball division conversation because of what he's done with this roster. I think he and his staff have done an outstanding job.
And he's a guy that takes no credit for any of this.
No,
he gives all his
no.
credit to the assistant coaches and the players, and they've really
Yeah.
taken after him with the selflessness. I mean, when
Yeah.
you look at Ellie Ruby and Mia Darnell, the 2 seniors, you talk about South Webster's soccer team. Wheelersburg's volleyball team is very young too, and
Yeah.
they'll be back next year, even if
Yes.
they do lose. The team that
Right.
they're playing is very good. We'll talk about that there in a minute, but I think they really take after Perry as well as their 2 senior leaders. And Ellie Ruby in that game against Piketon, she lost her shoe and kept playing. I mean, they're just very tough and gritty. You got the chance to talk to her and her head coach after the game. First, let's see what Ellie had to say about that play where she lost her shoe.
I gotta ask, you lost your shoe at one point during the match. What was that like for you?
Okay, well, one of our girls, Allie, like stepped on the back of my shoe and I played. That was the longest volley ever. Like, and I don't know, it was crazy. But Mia, I guess saw my shoe, kicked out of the way. And it was kind of hard. I slipped, trying to get a ball, but I mean, it's okay.
Hey, you got the win at the
We
end
got
of
the
day,
win.
right?
It's okay.
And you kind of talked about the team that they're going to be facing. They're playing Tuskegee Valley. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it.
That's Lawrence Valley, I think.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Because I butchered it a few times.
Yeah,
I'm just going to go with
think none of
Tuskegee
them-
Valley.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. I think that's it.
They're second. They were second in the Division III poll in the final poll. Haven't lost a set all season. They're undefeated. I believe they're 26-0. As you said, they've got 4 or 5 girls that are potentially going to be playing at the Division I level. This is a tough opponent that Wheelersburg is facing.
Yeah.
But at this time of the year, anything can happen.
Yeah.
And when you've got senior leadership and great players that are selfless and just care about coming together as a team like they did against Piketon, and they shut down Cami Chandler, one of the best players in the area. I mean, they're playing well at the right time, and they've had a great regular season as well. I mean, you could talk about 26-0. Wheelersburg only lost 2 matches as well.
Yeah.
And they played against great teams. They've played against tough teams. They've beaten great teams. So I think that certainly they've got just as good a chance. And let's see what Alan Perry has to say about this matchup as well.
I hope that we go up there and we get people to take notice of us. You know, I've never been there before as a coach. I know a couple of the seniors have been there before. I'm going to go back and I'm going to talk to some of the former coaches at Wheelersburg and find out what it's all about. And I guess I'll just take it from there.
Well, he was definitely excited to go to regionals. It's his first year as head coach, but he's got some great pieces around him. He's thanked the administration. He's thanked everyone there at Wheelersburg, and it would be nice to see him go up there and get a win. That team definitely deserves it.
Doing it as a first-year coach, I mean, that's great. I mean, you know, I think what he said when he started with the roster that he had, not being there the last year, I think he said it helps. I believe he's correct. I mean, the regional berth, I think, shows it, but it does not discredit the job that he has done, considering they only have 2 seniors on the roster. That's outstanding.
Yeah, it definitely is. Well, Notre Dame is also going to the regional tournament. They'll take on Waterford. Now, Waterford, you saw them play Clay. Clay was a very tough team. They were up 2-0 in that match. Just got to give the Panthers a shout out because they're a very young team as well. We talked about Wheelersburg being young. Clay is going to be back and better than ever next season. It was a tough loss for sure, but they're not going to dwell on it. I think they're going to push forward and keep fighting, and they're going to be back, perhaps even in regionals, contending for regionals next year.
Yeah, it was. I felt bad for quite a few teams, you know, losing like that. The South Webster girls basketball team comes to mind with the hump they've had to go over with Waterford. I felt so bad for Clay. Probably worse for Clay than I've ever felt for any team, period, in my lifetime, because the first 2 sets, Clay came out and they were attacking. Delaney Gilman probably played the best high school game of her career in the first 2 sets. Jensen Warnock was outstanding. She would later get 1,000 kills during the game. Clay had the whole, from top to bottom, laser sharp focus, knew from the moment before, 15 minutes before the game was going to start, they were ready and they were going to come out attacking. They came out firing. First 2 sets, they played outstanding volleyball from both the front and back lines. He even won the second set by over 10 points, won 25-11. I mean, just dominated the play the entire second set and played the best volleyball that they have all season. And then, you know, the third set, Waterford got some momentum back. some names, Ben, that you'll be hearing later. Megan Ball being one of those names on the basketball side. Really, Waterford did a great job controlling the front line with their blocking, and I think instead of trying to stick what they did in the first two frames, Clay tried to get selective with where they were placing the ball on their attack attempts instead of sticking to what they know and just, going for it. Instead of having that nothing to lose, mentality, they, tried to place the kills and, kind of the blocking and stuff, got into the psyche a little bit. And Waterford made the run and ended up being, a 5-set Waterford win. That's so tough, especially for a player like Jensen Warnock to get 1,000 kills, and you have that happen too. But I felt like Clay played outstanding, played their hearts out, really left it all on the floor. It's just a tough scenario when you come back from that. The question is, how will they respond? Will they come back next year and will they overcome that hump and not put that past them, and come together as a team? I believe they will. Those girls are really tight. They play 3 sports. They've already advanced the region in one of them in softball. They overcame Paint Valley, Michaela Newland on the softball side and were able to do it there. And I think eventually they will be able to next year on the volleyball side and get there. Just got to stay together as a team and not let the little things that could haves, and would haves, and should haves creep into that mindset, because that's the worst thing you can do as a player, because that can really mess with your psyche.
And we talked about Waterford beating Clay. Now they're going to get to take on Notre Dame, and I know you've gotten the chance to see Notre Dame several times this year. Notre Dame beat Clay twice this season, 6-1 in the season series. Clay did take 1 set from them. That was the only set Notre Dame lost in SOC1 play. But anyways, Waterford, how do you think they match up with Notre Dame? Because it looks like the Titans should be able to win this one.
I think Notre Dame will win, but I think it will go 5. I really like what Waterford did when they came back against Clay. They're tough. Again, Megan Ball and Allie Kern are over 6 feet tall on that front line, and they're great at blocking. Those two blocking got Waterford back in the game. They single-handedly got Waterford back. Then Waterford, made less mistakes than Clay did from an attack standpoint. For Notre Dame to win, they're going to have to stick to the mindset like they did against Farrell Hocking when they got down in not 1, not 2, but all 3 sets, and stick to their game. That is using Lexi Smith and Katie Detweiler to their advantage. Katie especially was just simply outstanding. She had 27 kills and 9 blocks in 2 games. 27. That's absolutely not much more you can ask for out of a middle hitter than that. And then Lexi had an outstanding game with 17 kills against Farrell Hocking in the district final. And they got down, but the difference between Notre Dame and Clay was Notre Dame stuck with their game. They did not deviate from that. They talked, and they never got down on themselves. They kept together and pulled together, kept each other up, and were able to pull out that close 26-24 victory in set 1, then the 2 25-20 wins in sets 2 and 3. Especially impressive in set 3 after falling behind 15-11 to come back and rally and keep Farrell Hocking from making a run. Because like Waterford, Farrell Hocking had great blockers, but they went back to the well and again had 4 girls with 10 or more digs, and that's critical.
You talk about Lexi Smith and Katie Detweiler. I can't wait to see what they do at the net in that game. That's going to be. I think that's the key to the game as well in that one. Well, it's time for some top performers now, and I know that you're probably going to mention Northwest football.
Yes.
Because I know you talked to Coach Monavon yesterday, but I did want to give them a shout out because I saw Billy Crabtree at one of the district soccer games, and he was upset that we picked Sims Valley. So I have to give him a shout out because he let me hear it when he saw me. He said, "Oh, you guys picked Sims Valley? What the heck, man?" So I just had to give Billy a shout out. I know you'll go more in depth with Northwest as well whenever you get to your top performers. But hey, man, what can I say about the Portsmouth-Ironton game? That went down to the absolute final play, and that was one of the best games of the season I know I texted you that after the game.
Yeah.
I was fired
10
up.
times. He said it over and over until 4:25 in the morning. Hey, this Portsmouth Ironton game was just insane. This Portsmouth Ironton game was insane.
He didn't understand. He wasn't there. It was something to be remarked about, and that's going to go down in the lore as one of the best games in that rivalry series. I'm telling you, Kevin, it was insane. Portsmouth's up 28-0 early. Ironton reverts to the wing tee to just try and kill time, and it starts working for them. They come back. It's tied up 35-35 with a minute to play. And my man Talyn Parker, he had 3 touchdowns on the game. His third touchdown was a 45-yard run with a minute remaining, exactly a minute remaining. Now Ironton, to their credit, they kept fighting, and they got down inside the Portsmouth 10-yard line, and they throw a pass. Gage Stowers is rolling out to his left. They throw a pass to a receiver. Ty Pendleton, the sophomore, came up big. He's there to knock it away, and Daniel Jordan was in on the action as well. So I have to give them a shout out as well. And Abby Carter posted this video on Facebook. It's great stuff. So she did a good job as well, because I was really regretting not filming the last minute of that game just for how crazy it was. It was awesome. And Isaac Kelley also had 3 total touchdowns. Have to give him a mention. Just a great game overall around, and a good way for Aaron Duncan and Portsmouth to finish 5-5 on the season overall. Also got to give Wheelersburg volleyball and girls soccer a shout out for being district champs. Both great performances as well. They dominated in the district finals just to get to where they are now, and I don't think they're going to stop there. They both have great rosters, and they've got what it takes to compete at the regional level.
They sure
I
do.
can't wait to see.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what comes about for both the Wheelersburg volleyball and girls soccer team as well. They're not done yet, Kevin.
No, they're not.
Last but not least, as for Northwest and South Webster, I mean, hey, one of these teams, as Corey Claxton said, is going to go on to regionals.
Yeah.
So the SOC is getting represented one way or another, no matter who goes on. And both of those teams have had great seasons, and now we finally get that matchup. The entire team for both sides, just great performances in their district tournament finals matches, both equally impressive. South Webster fought to the very end. Northwest was in control, but had to withstand the physicality of North Adams. Just 2 complete matches from both teams, and I can't wait to see that game on Wednesday. It's going to be something to behold. It's going to be a sight to behold for sure.
Right.
Now, who do you have for your top performers? I know Northwest is one.
Yeah, I'm going to start with them because I'm so impressed how they finished the season with 3 consecutive wins. Billy Crabtree, like we've already mentioned, was a spark plug in that, but Sims Valley came in and they played really good against East the first half. To say I was shocked at the score would be an understatement when I saw that they had won 28-6 and were leading 21-6 at halftime, and had actually taken it easy on Sims Valley in the second half, according to what some people have said. Every ball carrier, all 8 ball carriers that touched the rock for Northwest ran for over 4 yards per carry. So the offensive line definitely did its job no matter who was touching the ball. I really thought, as good as the offense was, with Crabtree running for 51 yards, 2 touchdowns, Hobby Howard adding another 59 or 57, that the defense was what really did Northwest, got the job done for Northwest. 184 held Sims Valley to 184 total yards of offense and forced 4 turnovers. Timmy Emmons had 2 interceptions, and then in addition to that, Kiefer Wilson, Sims Valley's quarterback, took 11 passes for him to get 74 yards of total passing, and he only completed 3 passes and had all 4 of Sims Valley's turnovers. That is a credit to Northwest defense. They have really come alive here the last 3 weeks, only allowing 18 total points in those 3 weeks. So shout out to Northwest. Looks like we're starting to see Coach Monavon in his 2nd year starting to make some strides there. Maybe it will carry over to the 3rd year. They lose a lot of seniors, but you never know. I mean, they keep everybody healthy. I mean, they're primed for a big jump next year.
I was going to say that's a preview of what Coach Monavon wants to do there. He wants to be a physical team, control the line of scrimmage, and pound the ball down the opponent's throat. And that's what they did. Garrett Rowe only threw 3 passes.
Right.
They knew coming in that they were going to control the ball, and they were going to run it right at Sims Valley, and that's what they did.
Right.
And I think you do have to give the Vikings credit because they had a fantastic season. If you would have told me at the start of the year that they would finish 6-4, I probably wouldn't have believed you.
No.
But Rusty Webb really had them geared up, and they go from 3-7 last year to 6-4 this year. That's a huge credit to his coaching and to that whole team there in Sims Valley.
And Lincoln Gothard was out, but he didn't play. So, I mean, that hurt Sims Valley, but that does nothing to take away credit what Northwest did. Northwest showed up and they played, and they controlled the line of scrimmage from start to finish, and they won that game. They took it. I mean, they still had Derek Brace, and they still had Sam Angelo, and they still had Kiefer Wilson. I mean, that's plenty of firepower that Sims Valley had, and Northwest controlled it from start to finish. So Mohawks totally deserved the entire credit there, from rallying from an 0-7 start, knowing you're not going to be in the playoffs, could just pack it in and quit, and they go out and take care of business final 3 games and finish tied for third in the SOC 1. So Northwest deserves all the credit in the world for continuing to play under those circumstances. I think that's great coaching and great play from the guys.
Great leadership from the seniors. You know, I got to talk to Kyle Leslie after the Green game, and he was talking about building the foundation for next year. He's going to graduate. He's not going to be there, but he's worried about what his team's going to do next year. That says a lot about Coach Monavon, as you said, but the kids' leadership as well.
That's why he's getting interest from Coast Guard and Navy, Armed Forces schools for football. I mean, that leadership right there, I mean, it speaks volumes. Gotta give a shout out. It sounds like a broken record, but Tanner Holden was his normal outstanding self on Friday evening. I know there's some people out there who still don't believe he's a Division I talent, but I'm sorry, guys. I think he is. I mean,
there's still a lot.
11 catches for 109 yards and a touchdown in the toughest environment, toughest game you'll play this year, with the pack all the way up to the grass. You can't hardly see the grass, and he just did an outstanding job. Caught the 41-yard touchdown pass from Trent Sayers on the money. Perfect pass. He runs right under it, beats one-on-one coverage down the left hash, takes it into the end zone, and from there, Wheelersburg had control from then on. West played so hard, but Berg just kind of overwhelmed West with their depth, and then the ability to make stops. But Tanner Holden was, once again, the difference maker.
Broke some records
with his, having the 17 total touchdowns, which passed Dylan Miller. Dylan Miller was an outstanding receiver who graduated in 2014. Outstanding football and baseball athlete. That he and Eddie Miller III, when they were here in 2013, put out together an outstanding passing attack. And to surpass that, really, as a junior, says a lot about the kind of person, the kind of player, the kind of dedication that Tanner Holden has. Not just his natural talents, but his work ethic.
He can still have 5 more games to put up more numbers too.
Yeah, and to have over 1,100 yards receiving and break that in such a monumental game. I mean, he really came to play. People who say, he may not be the most physical guy, he put up 109 yards on 11 catches. I mean, they went back to the well and he made the catches and he took the hits. I mean, he took some pops. One from Kane Lewis was a huge pop when he caught a bubble screen and took it. But he got right back in there and made more plays. And they just had a hard time, as most teams have this year, stopping him. And that just speaks volumes to Tanner Holden's ability to make plays. Another guy I want to talk about is Kelton Kelley. I thought, and really the entire Minford football team, we'll eat our crow on that one, me especially, because I thought Valley had this one, with Valley beating Minford last year, having taken every game in the series since the end of the 2010 season. They had won every game. Minford came up and they said, nope, we're defending our home turf, our grass. It's ours. Muletown is not going to be taken with an L. They came out, put up 41 points on the board. Darius Jordan scored 2 scores, but Kelton Kelley had, I believe, 6 or 5 total touchdowns in that game, and really showed some poise for Minford late. Minford's got a lot of talent coming up from the middle school ranks, as does Valley. But that is a great momentum builder for Minford, who sorely needed something to go in the offseason with. Boy, winning the battle of Lucas Mill, Minford Road, will that ever do that? So, I mean, you see Valley's improvement from winning that game last year after having the struggles they had. You never know. Minford could be big, vital for, not only Jesse Ruby's ability to install, the wide open, air raid offense, shotgun offensive attack that he's trying to build there, but then also for them to put together possibly a 5-6 win season, because they finished 4-6. Despite all the struggles they had, they still won 4 games. So I got to give a shout out to Minford for coming and ready to play and being prepared and wanting to prove people wrong and doing so. They did not take Valley lightly and showed it throughout the game on Friday. Was up from overcame a 6-0 Valley lead and took control from there. Never trailed again. So credit to Minford.
Also want to mention Ethan Gifford moved over to split in for East this week. Coach James Gifford said they want to get their best 11 out on the field. He did pretty good, had a 90-yard touchdown reception. Yeah. And, of course, Kyle Flannery had 3 total touchdowns as well. So the usual suspects getting the job done for the Tardens.
I forgot, speaking to East, Ethan Carver, he's been huge at the running back position. He's physical body. He's about 5'11", but runs like a tank. It's hard to bring down. It really showed that off against Sims Valley from what I could tell. Played with 17 stitches against Sims Valley.
Wow.
Yeah. And ran for over 70 yards. And
no big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, those kids from Sourdough are tough. I can't wait to see what they're going to do in the playoffs. And now we've got some playoffs to actually talk about. We've got 3 games coming up. We're going to actually separate that in another video. We did talk a little bit, but man, we've got a lot to talk about. So we've got to give a separate video for the playoff discussion. So make sure you check that one out as well. And thank you for watching this video because, man, there's some good teams in Scioto County that we just love to cover them. And I can't wait to see what they do and how far they can make it in the playoffs because we've got some great teams in this area and some great kids, great coaches, great fans, and great support for Southeast Ohio Sports Talk. So we thank you guys so much.